mode represent parts of your data. What does it mean in relationship to the measure of central tendency? It's what we get. It's what we can use for our measure of central tendency. How do we know which one to use? The Regents loves this question. Algebra 1 loves this question. What does central mean? What is central? Center. So you have a whole bunch of data. I'm going to just put them on a number line here. You have all these little points. There should be in a line. Okay, I want to know where the center of my data is. So I look at three possible things. The mean, which is the average of all my data pieces. The mode, which is the data that occurs the most. Or the median, the number in the middle. Now, when you guys were younger, in 8th grade, we gave you a list of data, and we said put it in order from lowest to highest. And we said find the mean. So you added them all up, you found the mean. You added them and divided by how many there were. Then we found the mode. Which data has the mode, is the mode, the one used the most? 20. Then you found the median. This might look more familiar than my dot plot. So how did you find the median? Yeah, like you're kind of, because they're in order, you go in like this, then you go in the next two, then you go in the next two, then you go in the next two, then you go in the next two. Oh, and he's the guy in the middle. What if I came between two numbers in the middle, 16 and 17, and there was no middle? You add them, divide them by 2. So if that really is the center of my data, why don't I always use that number? Why do I use the mean so often? And when do I know the difference to actually use my median versus my mean? I could give you this. Is still in the middle of my data, right? But my data goes from 1 to 20. Does it really represent the center of my data using that? Does the mean represent the center of my data? I have to kind of figure out what does the mode represent? Where my tendency is towards the center of the data? So those are the things we're going to look at in this. We kind of take your mean, median, and mode, and we really give meaning to why you use this. And we're going to look on graphs to see what happens. The mean, median, and mode should all be in the middle. They all begin with M. They should be in the middle. If they're not, we want to know which one do we use that actually represents the middle of my data. My mode there is 20. I only want to use 20 to be the middle of my data. I might not even want to use the mean. Depends what my mean comes out to be. So those are things we're going to look for in this unit. And today we're just going to go through this and then try a little lab together where we actually see what happens to the mean and the median and the mode. Most of this will kind of be a little bit repetition for you guys. I do have a sheet that might be helpful if you forgot how to do this on your calculator. I'm going to put it in your L1. I printed this out for you guys. calculate them without my L1 table. So if you just take a look at this for a second, I like to use the calculator for this. Since we have these calculators available to us, we use the calculator. Okay. Mode is the guy that occurs the most. The mode of a data set, if they're not repeated, there's no mode. If they have two, it's bimodal. I put this for your calculator. I want you guys to try this one. I want you to put them in your calculator. I want you to find these mean, median, and mode. So you're going to put them in your stat edit. How do I clear out this table? Go to L1, not delete. Say what? Clear, enter. If you delete that table. Do I have to use L1? No, I can use any one I want. And when I do my one-var stat, I tell it what table I use. So you guys go ahead and find me this information. I'm just going to put them in here for now. I want the mean, median, and the mode. Find mean, median, and mode. Okay, so, sorry. How do I do this? Alright, how do I get mean, median, and mode? Stat, calc, good, and calculate. I'm already on my L1. I have no frequency. Calculate. X bar came out nice. X bar came out to be 78. I scroll down till I find my median. My median came out to be 75. And my mode, how do I get this in order? How do I put my data in order? Go to Stat, Sort A, and L1, thank you. Then go to Stat and take a look at it. Here's your data in order. So now you can see you have 250s, you have 270s, you have 200s. So what is your mode? 50, 70, and 100. Okay? 50, 70, and 100. So everybody can do this, right? Okay, good. All right, an outlier. An outlier is a data entry that is pretty far removed from the rest of your data. An outlier has an effect on. Okay, so here's my data. What number is the outlier? 72, right? My data is like 1 through 9, and I have the clear blue, I got a 72. Will that affect my mode? No. Well, let's make this a little easier. Will that affect my mode? No. Will it affect my median? No, only because, no and yes, no because the placement of this, if it was a 10, I'd still have the same median, right? If I didn't have a 72, maybe my median would be moved over if I eliminated that number altogether. But if I replace this with a decent number, it does not affect my median. What does it have an effect on? My mean. What's it going to do to my mean? Increase it, because this number is really, really high. So what happens is it skews my data a little bit. It throws it off. It says, well, you were doing pretty good, but then you threw me this big number, so it looks like your average is a whole lot bigger than this. So that's what an outlier does. An outlier has an effect on your mean, median, and mode. We're going to take a look at an example here. It gave us a data set. It put it in order so we can take a look at this data set. I'm just going to move these two pieces right up here. Okay. Now, if we put this in your calculator and we found your mean, median, and mode, they did it for us. So we're going to look at their mean, median, and mode. If you look at page 70, their mean came out to be 23.8. We're letting them do the work here. Their median came out to be 21.5. And their mode is 20. How did my median come out to be 21.5 when I don't have a 21.5? It came in between 21 and 22. It came in between those two numbers. Now, I wanna know what effect this has on my data. So, if I want to, I could remove this guy. If I remove him, it might throw my median off a little bit because I changed the number of data. If I just made it a 24, what would it affect? Would it affect my median? No. Would it affect my mode? Would it affect my mode? But my mean is going to change, right? What will happen to my mean if I change that number to a 24? It will go down. It will get a little bit closer to my median. Now this is what I want you to do. I want these three rows right here to calculate the mean, and you can just do the mean by putting them in and adding them using this original data set. I want those three rows over there to calculate the mean using this one. Well, okay, take this back. We already know this one. So, everybody calculate the mean, replacing a 65 with a 24. I'm going to have to put those numbers all in. Just put them all in, add them together, and then how many are we? There should be 20 numbers you're going to put in. Replace the 65 with a 24. I don't want to remove it because I don't want to throw my median off right now. It will throw it off just a little bit. I just want to replace it. What'd you get? What'd you get again? 31.7. 31.7? For your mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Oh yeah, I think I did something wrong actually.
Because we don't have any 30s. Yeah. Maybe you didn't.
I think I had another number.
21.7? Majority get 21.7. So look what happens. When we replace this with a kind of a regular number here, we didn't change the median, we didn't change the mode, but look how much closer our mean came to our median. That's what central tendency means. Where is the center of your data? With this 65 in here, the center of my data technically should be 21.5. Usually we always say the mean. We always say they ask you for the measure of central tendency. Everybody loves the mean. They just add them all up, divide by how many there are. But sometimes the median is a little bit more meaningful. If you have an outlier here, without the outlier, with a regular piece of data, look at how close that is. They're right in the same ballpark, aren't they? So our mean, our median, our mode's a little bit off, but our mean and our median are smack in the middle. When your mean and your median are together like this, you can use either one for your measure of central tendency, finding the center of your data. When you have an outlier, oh, my outlier pushed me over here somewhere, pushed me here. My mean went over there somewhere. It didn't really represent the central tendency of my data. So while you guys learn mean, median, and mode, I don't think you ever caught the concept of what does the measure of central tendency mean. Does it make a little bit more sense? We're going to continue with this on Monday, and you're going to investigate.